सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतई सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर है सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
सानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
Jai Shri Krishna to all. I bow down in the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna and also pay my humble obeisances to Pujya Swami Govind Dev Giriji Maharaj. On behalf of Geeta Pariwar, today I, Naisha Chawla from Bangalore, welcome you all to this interpretation session. Today, respected senior trainer Vikas Ji Vaidya will lead us into the fifth part of the second chapter of Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā, the Upadesh given by Shri Bhagavan. Let us begin this enlightening session with the prayer. And so, Lakshmi Poduguji from Hyderabad will recite the Prarthana. Didi is a homemaker who joined Geeta Pariwar in March last year. Didi also serves as a co-trainer and tech in various levels in our Pariwar. Jai Shri Krishna, Didi.
जय श्री कृष्ण वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णो वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णो वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण
Thank you so much, Didi, for that sweet voice. Moving on now towards the divine Deep Prajwalan. Keshav Patrolji from Bhuvaneshwar is with us today for the Deep Prajwalan. Bhaiya is a retired auto professional who gives several sevas in Geeta Pariwar since July 2021 when he joined us. Bhaiya takes the Odia grammar class, is a co-trainer, examiner, creative writer and an endless list of sevas that Bhaiya gives in Geeta Pariwar. Jai Shri Krishna, Bhaiya.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृताम् कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you so much for the divine darshan, Bhaiya. Moving on now to the most awaited part of today's Vivechan Satra. Respected Vikas Vaidya Bhaiya will now lead us into the Vivechan. Bhaiya has a BE degree in mechanical engineering and owns a small IT company which is based in Pune. Bhaiya knows several languages and has traveled all around the world for 12 years. Bhaiya is also a trainer in Geeta Pariwar for L1 to L4 in various levels, is involved in the trainer selection and trainers training for all 4 levels. He is also involved in teaching and Vivechan of Shri Vishnu Sahasranam as a member of Pune Geeta Pariwar. Bhaiya also guides Geeta devotees to prepare for the Sringeri Peetha exam. Jai Shri Krishna, Bhaiya. Much awaited part of the session is here. Please lead us into Vivechan.
जय श्री कृष्ण वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं पूज्य स्वामी जी के चरण कमलों में कोटि कोटि नमन। वी आर स्टडीइंग सेकंड अध्याय सांख्य योग Last time we concluded with shlok number 44. In 44, Paramatma had said, Bhogaishvarya prasaktanan taya parutachetasam vyavasayatmika buddhis samadhau na vidhiyate. Those whose minds have been hijacked or swept away by pleasure and power. Their main interest in life is only pleasure and power. So such people are incapable of following the supreme goal and will never attain samadhi. Samadho no vidhiyate. Okay, let us continue that discussion now. Further, Paramatma is saying in the next shloka, in shlok number 45, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastho Niryogakshema Atmavan. So Paramatma is going asking Arjuna to go beyond three gunas. Paramatma says Trigunya, the three gunas of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajatamo, Vishaya. Vishaya is the subject matter. Veda, the Vedic literature. Nistraigunyo, crossover, transcendent all these three gunas of material nature. Nitya Sattvastho, in a pure state of spiritual existence. Nitya Sattvastho. Niryoga Kshema, free from idea of gain and protection. No yoga idea, no kshema idea. Atmavan, getting established in the self. So all that God is saying now is, Arjuna, the Vedas deal with three gunas, three attributes, sattva, rajo, tamo, and their evolutes, of course. Be free from those attributes, sattva, rajo, tamo. We have learned in 14th Adhyaya that even sattvic gunas can put a bondage on you. Paramatma is expecting us to go bondage free. So be free from these three attributes, rise above these three gunas, nistraigunyo. Be free from these three gunas, nistraigunyo. Also rise above the polarity of opposites, nirdvandva, raga, dvesha, raga, lobha, all this profit, loss, happiness, unhappiness, favorable, unfavorable. These are the dvandvas. So rise above this and become nirdvandva. Remains balanced, nitya sattvastha, and be unconcerned about the wants, that means what you need, that is called yoga, and about the preservation of what you already have, what is called as kshema, and get established in the self. That means becomes atmavan. So big message from here, from Lord Krishna in this shloka, Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Here the reference is to the ritualistic portion of Vedas. Vedas deal with many things, out of which one portion of Vedas deal with the ritualistic portion, which deals with three gunas and their evolutes in the form of worldly pleasures and heavenly pleasures, etc., enjoyments. If you do this, you will gain this pleasure, like that. So the purpose is not to demean Vedas. Paramatma doesn't want to demean Vedas, but to glorify the selfless spirit. Purpose is not to demean Vedas. See, when we compare a diamond with the piece of glass, the idea is to stress upon the glaze of diamond. That how diamond is better than that piece of glass. We don't want to insult that piece of glass. That also has many uses, no? So Vedas do not deal with only the means to satisfy desires, but also contain some great transcendental ideas on God realization. But Paramatma here is focusing on that part of Vedas, the ritualistic part, which deals with attainment of pleasures in this life as well as life after this. That's why he says, Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Next, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Arjuna, be free from these three gunas and their evolutes. That is, be free from the worldly pleasures as well as the means of attaining such pleasures. We saw in last discussion that the purpose of these people's life is to enjoy this life and make enough provision so that even after death, we will attain heaven, we will keep enjoying the pleasures in heaven as well. The Paramatma says, be free from these worldly pleasures and the means of attaining such joy. Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Nirdvandva. Be free from the pair of opposites such as attachments and aversion, sukha, dukha, favorable, unfavorable, profit, loss, jay, parajay. Because these are the enemies. We get entangled in them. And our whole life gets wasted in playing with this dvandva of life. Somebody gives you a smile, you get attracted towards him. Somebody does not give a smile, you start thinking about it. Is the life meant for all this? For such small petty things? These are the enemies of human beings. In third Adhyaya, Paramatma has said, Indriyasya Indriyasyarthe ragadvesho vyavastito tayornavashamagacche tauhasya paripantino. These are the obstacles in the path of spirituality. This kind of dvandva of ragadvesh and all that. So Paramatma is asking Arjuna to do away with this dvandva and become nirdvandva. Then next he is asking nitya sattvastha. The advice is to rise above the pair of opposites, become nirdvandva, and get established in the omnipresent eternal God. That is getting established in nitya sattvastha. Niryoga kshema. See, there are two things. In the ninth adhyaya also Paramatma said, yoga kshema vahamyaham. Isn't it? Ninth adhyaya says this. That whatever my devotees want, yoga, I give them that. And kshema also I take care of them. Whatever they have, they want to preserve that, I preserve it for them. So I take care of yoga and kshema both. Paramatma's niryoga kshema. Now here Paramatma says, do not have the desire even of getting something, that is yoga, and do not have the desire to preserve something which you already have, kshema. Become niryoga kshema. The God in reality knows better what we need, that means yoga, and whatever we have, what we need to preserve, kshema. He knows better than us, no? So we should on our side become niryoga kshema. Atmavan. Having the only aim of God realization, that is Atmavan. Get established in the self, cut off from the material world, in short. Now actually it is very difficult in English to translate this word of guna. Similarly, karma. I find it very difficult to find exact meaning of karma in English. Similarly, exact word for guna is not there in English. Attribute, quality is only a rough equivalent of guna. Sri Krishna says, everything in the universe is a combination of these three gunas. Sattva, rajas and tamas. In varying proportions, of course. Somebody will have more of sattvic, somebody will have more of rajas and all that. We human beings are also considered to be varying combinations of sattva. Sattva indicates law. Rajas, it indicates energy. And tamas, it indicates inertia or ignorance. Inertia. Evolution means what? Means we have to rise from tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva. That is the process of evolution. No? When we want to make progress on our path of spirituality, when we use the word evolution, this is what evolution is. If we are tamasi, we should rise to rajasi. If we are rajasi, we should rise above to sattvic. This far-reaching concept not only accounts for the way in which human beings are expected to conduct themselves in their daily life, but also gives us guidelines as to how we can proceed on the path of evolution, spiritual evolution. Day-to-day life, okay, understood. But it also helps us on the path of spirituality. Tamas to rajas, rajas to sattvic definitely is a help in the path of spirituality, isn't it? Now let us first take this process of evolution. How to get evolution? Let us take our good old friend tamas first. Tamas, inertia. Tamas shows itself in not wanting to move, inertia. Pade raho, kuch mat karo. Keep sitting on TV, sitting on sofa, keep watching TV, don't do anything, don't move your body also. Inertia, not wanting to act. In other words, in wanting to be a stone just lying on the road. But it is all right for the stone to be inert, because that is the dharma of stone, isn't it? But it is not all right for us, for you and me to be inert, to try and avoid the problems and say, what does it matter? It's okay, let us live with it. This phrase, what we often hear is that he or she is well adjusted. That means he doesn't want to move. In other words, he is well adjusted. That means He doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to take extra efforts to repair, to improve the situation. But this is not favorable comment in all the situations. Getting well adjusted is not appropriate comment in all the situations. See, if you are getting adjusted in a very bad, very wrong situation, and then keep saying that I'm well adjusted here, that is very wrong. No? It is showing your inertia, your laziness, not to take efforts to improve the situation. If we get well adjusted in today's extra domination of Islamic people in this country, is it good adjustment? Is it well adjusted? People will keep throwing stones and we keep tolerating, saying that we are well adjusted. Why we do that? Because inertia. Hindus have great amount of inertia, laziness. They don't want to move, they don't want to act. And they cover it with this phrase, well adjusted. We are well adjusted in our society. What well adjusted? To hell with that's well adjusted. You are tamas. You have inertia, you are lazy. Paramatma says, this is not the right attribute. The tamas in Hindus is causing them this get adjusted view in present situation. But we will have to face the consequences of this inertia, this tamas guna of ours, sooner or later, definitely. Now, in order to transform this tamas into rajas, what should we do? There is a series of simple steps which we all can take in our daily life. Postponement is a very close friend of tamas. Postponement. Abhi mat karo, kal karenge, like that. One of the ways to tackle inertia and expedite its transformation into rajas is never to delay anything. Immediately is one of the favorable word of our spiritual gurus and spiritual masters and yogis who live completely in the present. All of us have heard the doha from Kabir. Kal kare so aaj kar, aaj kare so ab, kal mein parlay hoegi, bhauri karega kab? Isn't it? But tamas people follow exactly opposite of this. They say, aaj kare so kal kare so parso, itni bhi kya jaldi hai, abhi jeena hai barso. So this is the tamas tendency of people. Also, concentration. Concentration is perhaps the most effective way to transform tamas into rajas. Tamas people, even if they are enthusiastic, they will begin the work with good enthusiasm, with good gusto. But within a short time of say 10, 20, 30 minutes, their moral collapses. They often complain that they are getting bored. The answer to boredom is to give a little more attention to what we are doing. Any job, the moment we attend to it completely and finish it from start to end, then it becomes interesting. It gives us confidence. It gives us energy. Yes, I can do. If a job bores us, we should not yield to this tamasi attribute, but should give more attention to our work and try to increase our span of concentration. With concentration, the job will not become bore. It may become more interesting. So this will not help us only in getting our tamas, the bad attribute, but will also help us in our meditation. If concentration is picked up by us as a required attribute, it helps us greatly in meditation. People often complain in the beginning of meditation that both boring hai meditation, it's boring. But when they get used to meditation, they cannot live without meditating. Boredom is gone by concentration. So this attribute of concentration has to be picked up by us. It helps us in reducing our tamas as well as it helps us in meditation. Then transformation or evolution from rajas to sattvic is not extraordinary either. Because all of us have an element of sattvic guna in us. However bad a person may be, he has some element of sattva in him. We all have the capacity to some degree of forgiveness and friendliness in our relationships. It is already there. We just need to extend it slowly to include a wider and wider circle of people. We have this forgiveness and friendliness for a limited group of people. We need to expand that circle. See, there is no human being who does not have the element of tamas in him. True. But then there is no one who does not have the element of sattva also. As tamas becomes transformed to rajas, and there is more and more energy available to us, because rajasi guna, it indicates energy. From where the energy comes, you have got what you wanted. So that gives you a lot of energy. So that energy, there is a more capacity for us to be more productive. And that energy we should use for our spiritual sadhana, for action, for service, for seva. We must harness this newly acquired energy to augment our sattvic attribute. Now, in the context of today's lifestyle, some words of caution must be said. Though there is vital need for hard work, nobody denies that. Yes, hard work is must. We should take care that we don't get caught in the work only. We don't become workaholic all the time. We see many people, particularly in the IT industry, information technology industry, who become victims of work, who carry their work from home, from the office to their home, to their living room. And from living room, they carry the work to their dining table. And from where they are eating. And from dining table, they carry it to their bedroom. Probably in the dream also, they want to do some work. With this new culture of work from home, the homes have become 24 hours office. We should do our work with concentration and yet be able to drop it completely with the detachment at a minute's notice. 6 baj gaye, kaam band. Now I am a different person altogether. Can we do it? This will free us from tension of the work and will enable us to give our best when we are working. Half-hearted work does not help your company and it does not help you as well. See, the characteristics of a person established in sattva are calmness, compassion, and complete fearlessness. When the mind is agitated, judgment is likely to be clouded. Of the agitated mind, I mean. Therefore, Geeta says we should never undertake any action when we are angry or afraid. Such actions is not likely to be correct and is not likely to be effective as well. Anytime when our mind is agitated, the chanting of mantra is a great help. Whatever mantra you chant, when mind is agitated, keep chanting that mantra to calm down your mind. And when our mind is calm, then our judgment will be clear. Another capacity of sattva is the capacity to forgive, kshama. Most of us perhaps are not aware how under the surface level of subconsciousness, the old problems, the old resentment keep burning. Old hostilities keep flaming up in our subconscious. A sudden agitation or a sudden depression is often caused by the old resentment that props up from our subconscious, which we are still harboring that in the depths of our subconsciousness. So that is one thing to be remembered, Krishna says. Finally, Sri Krishna concludes that it is not enough if we transform tamas into rajas and rajas into sattvic. We must go beyond that. Beyond sattva also. Nistrayunya. So going beyond 3 gunas means going beyond time, going beyond space, going beyond the thought of cause and effect. Going beyond death to eternity, to immortality, to infinity. When we are alive, we can gain that immortality, eternity, infinity. Now, to clearly understand these 3 gunas of sattva, rajo, tamo, how we follow this in our day-to-day life. A small story. This old story of a mango tree explains the characteristics of three gunas and how they manifest in our lives. After knowing this story, you should have a clear understanding of these three concepts of sattva, rajo, tamo, and their significant role in our happiness, in our contentment, etc. In a small, poor village, three friends, they dreamed to be of living a better life. Because the small village did not have many jobs, no business. So they set off to explore the city. Let's go to the city and find some job or business there. Walking under the intense summer, they started walking towards the city. By noon, they were very hungry and thirsty, obviously, and stopped for break in a nearby forest. Under the shade of a tree, they noticed a mango tree. Very happy they were. The mango tree was laden with fruits. Seeing this as a blessing to quench their hunger and thirst, the oldest of the friends, he approached the tree. He saw ripe mangoes on the ground. He picked a few of them and then he peeled the skin and then he ate the mangoes. 5-6 mangoes he ate. Very satisfied with the taste, juicy mangoes, sweet mangoes. And he thanked the God for this gift. Then he planted the seeds of those mangoes in the hope that they might grow into tree to benefit the future travelers on this path. As somebody has done this few years back, and I'm tasting the fruits of that, I should do it. I should return this favor done to us by someone so that our future generations will taste the same kind of mangoes. Next, the second friend walked to the tree. He noticed that he could sell the mangoes in the market and the wood of those branches also in the market. And he will get benefit himself, isn't it? So after enjoying some mangoes from the branch of a tree, which he saw were ripe mangoes, he broke the branch of that tree. He took out the wood of that branch. He plucked the mangoes from that branch and carried it away and was very proud of his clever idea. What a great idea. I broke the branch. I have the mangoes. I will sell this in the market. I will sell this wood in the market and I will get money. Very good. Finally, the third friend, he went to the tree. He picked up some mango, but he was not having knowledge as to what is ripe mango and what is unripe mango. He picked up a wrong mango. Lack of knowledge. When he tested, it was very sour. He got very angry. Both my friends got sweet mangoes from this tree, and this tree is doing unfavor to me. This is giving me sour fruit. What is this? I don't like this tree. I'll burn it down. Then he let his anger dictate his actions, setting up the tree ablaze, putting it on fire. Now, in this tale, the three friends represent three different qualities. The first one, he expresses gratitude. So it is gratitude and wisdom. That is sattva guna. Second friend was self-interest. That is rajasi guna. And third was negative ego and ignorance. That is tamasi. So each of us is guided by one of these qualities or a mix of them. Sometimes we are rajasi, sometimes we are tamasi, sometimes we are sattvic. But we are essentially guided by these three gunas, affecting on how we think, how we feel, how we act. So Paramatma says, rise above all this. Rise above these three gunas. And think of life independent of these three gunas. Because as we discussed, even sattvic guna also puts you under bondage. So what is the use? Okay, let's continue this discussion. Slok number 46. Yavanartha udapane sarvada samplutodake tavan sarveshu edeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. Interesting. Now Paramatma is doing some comparison. Yavan artha udapane. Yavan, all that. Artha. Artha is mean. Udapane. Udapane is water, well of water. Vihir. Sarvata, in all respects. Samplutodake. A very big, great reservoir of water is called Samplutodake. tavan. Tavan is similarly Vedeshu, the Vedic literature, the scriptures, Brahmanasya, of the man who knows par Brahma, who has achieved the target of God realization, Vijanataha, who is in complete knowledge. So Paramatma says, as on obtaining a reservoir of water flooded on all sides, there is no use of a small pond or a pothole of water. You see a lot of potholes on the water in monsoon, no? But if we have a full reservoir of water, will we really care for that small amount of water in that pothole? So an illuminated man, a jnani, a knowledgeable man, who has realized the God, he has little or no use of that sakam karmas mentioned in Vedas. So Paramatma has compared sakam karma with that small pond and nishkam karma with the huge reservoir of water flooding on all sides. This is the comparison. See, a smaller reservoir of water is useful, not that it is totally useless, but it is useful in a place where there is no other source of water. But nobody will pay attention to such reservoir of water when there is a big reservoir of pure water. When your house is full of food grains, will you stand in the queue of ration for a couple of kgs of rice? No. When you are owning a land of say 500 acres, will you pay any attention to a 20 feet by 10 feet piece of land? You have 500 acres. You will care, Janado, I don't care. Or when you are getting filtered fresh corporation water through tap in your kitchen, will you go to the community tap in your lane for a bucket full of water? We used to go in our childhood. But do we go now? We are getting plain fresh water in our kitchen. Similarly, an illuminated person, a jnani person, who has found the answers to these questions. Who am I? Where do I come from? What is the purpose of my coming into this world? What is Paramatma? What is the objective of my life? When he knows all this, will he have any attraction for the perishable physical amenities of the material world? One who has attained Atma Jnana, for him, there is nothing to be achieved by performing sakam karmas mentioned in the Vedas. And to compare that, Paramatma has said, Sampluto Dage and that pond of water. See the yajna, the oblations, the charities, the tapa, penances, the pilgrimages, etc. mentioned in Vedas are good. Yes, definitely good. They are of use to those who have to attain fulfillment of some desire. But these become meaningless for an illuminated, a God-realized person. It has no use for them, isn't it? So a great soul who possesses knowledge of Lord, the Vedas and the scriptures is called Brahmanasya Vijanataha. He knows everything. So he has no use of the sakam karmas mentioned in the Vedas. That does not mean Vedas are to be demeaned. Somebody has to make a beginning, and invariably we make beginning with sakam karma only. And after a few years we realize everybody going to Paramatma is begging. Let us do some nishkam karma. So the beginning is always made through sakam karma, but a stage should come in our life when we should shift from sakam to nishkam. Okay, next sloka 47. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur ma te sangostva karmani. The slok which everybody knows. Karmanyevadikaraste. Karmani, the prescribed duty, karma, adhikar, right. Kadachana, at any time. Ma is never. Astu, there should be akarmani, in not doing. So Paramatma says, Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur ma te sangostva karmani. You have only the right to act and perform your action. Karmanyevadikaraste. And how to perform those actions is also up to you. Okay. But you cannot dictate the fruits of those actions. Ma phaleshu kadachana. You cannot dictate that I should get the fruits of this action of mine. It is not in your hands. Hence, don't perform actions for the occurrence of any desired result. That I will get this desired result, that's why I'll perform this action, this karma. Lord further adds, you should also not get attached to inaction. Or karma also you should not get attached to. That I will not do anything. Because karma phala is not liked by Paramatma, so better I don't do karma at all. This attachment to a karma is also criticized by Paramatma. Paramatma says, I ask you to give up the wish for karma phala, not the karma. And by giving karma phala, I don't want you to give up karma. So in this shloka, Paramatma has said 4 things, 4 points which need our attention. Point number 1, your right is to perform your duty, your action only. Point number 2, never lay claim on its fruit. Point number 3, don't be the cause of fruit of action. Don't perform karma because you are going to get result out of it. And point number 4, let your attachment be not there in inaction also. Now out of these 4, the first and fourth, that means your right is to perform duty and let your attachment not be there for inaction also. These two are having almost the similar theme about action. Both lay emphasize on the performance of duty or performance of action, performance of karma. Similarly, the second and third, never lay claim on any fruit and don't be the cause of fruit of action. These two have the similar theme. It means that by being in action, you will become tamasic. If you are in inaction, if you don't want to do karma, people who will draw wrong meaning of this shloka, they will say, Paramatma says, don't expect karma phala, so I will not do karma also. So then you will become tamasic, because inaction is inertia. Inaction is ignorance. And that is denoted by tamasic. So you will become tamasic. Now by having attachment for action and its fruits, you will become tamasic temperament, rajasic temperament. But when the seeker is free from laziness, from idleness, from actions and the fruits of action, he gets the joy born out of sattvic knowledge and light, and that is, he has affinity for the sattvic temperament. So this shloka, if we want to become sattvic, we have to take out this meaning of this shloka. To be free from laziness, from idleness, we should not get attached to karma or to karma phala, nor should we get detached from the karma, because karma is going to give you some fall. So don't get detached from karma. Never avoid your karma. Therefore, a striver should not have attachment to either of these. Doing one's duty without having an attachment to them is called the discipline of disinterested action. In Adhyaya 14th, we learn Satparajatamo, all they put bondage to us. Shri Krishna says, do karma does not mean have expectation of fruits. And do not expect fruits of action does not mean don't do the karma. While taking care of children, the parents are not expected to have an expectation that in their old age, the son will take good care of them. Plant a tree, but don't expect that you will get the fruits which will be borne by the tree. But that does not mean don't plant the tree. If I plant the tree today, the fruits may come after 25 years, I may or may not be there. So why should I plant the tree? No, plant the tree. Do your karma. Break the relationship between karma and karma phala is the message of Lord. That is called naishkarmya. Giving up, doing of karma is not naishkarmya. But breaking the relationship between karma and karma phala is naishkarmya. See, in our day-to-day life, we grind, say, chutney with our mixer. But whether we grind chutney or masala or something else, that is not decided by the mixer. Does the mixer decide what we should grind? No. Mixer has no likes or dislikes. Similarly, The mixer does not think, if I grind this for you, what will I get? Can the mixer decide like this? So Paramatma is expecting us to live like that. Of course, this does not mean that we should live a totally mechanical life, but we should understand the principle behind it and perform our duty as our prescribed duty with total devotion. That is the expectation of Lord. When there are clouds in the, for example, see, if we keep expecting karma phala, how difficult God's job will be. Everybody, the world population is 800 crores, everybody is having expectation of karma phala, which are not intangent, which are contradictory. For example, if there are clouds in the sky, the wife of the potter, the kumar, what we call, she will pray to the God, oh God, don't allow this rain to fall for a couple of days, 3-4 days this week. We have just prepared new clay pots. They are still not dried also. If it rains, we will suffer a huge loss. So please don't allow rain to fall. At the same time, the wife of the farmer, she is praying to the God, oh God, we have done sowing of the seeds in our farms. Please allow rains to fall now. Otherwise, we will suffer a great loss. What should the God do? What should the God do? The wife of the doctor, she wants to have a diamond necklace. So she is praying to the God that God practice of my husband, because it is only then that I can buy a diamond necklace in this Diwali. Now, if God accepts her request, that means the God will have to spread disease and send many patients to that doctor, isn't it? And here, people like us, we keep praying to the God that we should never fall sick. What should the God do? So on a lighter note, I say that did the COVID epidemic, which broke in 2020, it struck us because prayers of our medical fraternity that they want our money. So the God wants to do good to all. Why he will try to harm people? But such are the cases. What the God can do? If the rain falls, that Kumar wife will complain. If it doesn't fall, the farmer's wife will complain. So in all the cases, we blame the God. But if he keeps listening to all the requests from human beings, it will be impossible even for him to work. So our opinion, our demands have no meaning. We should keep performing our duty, and whatever is thought appropriate by the God, we will get it without even asking for it. Therefore, Shri Krishna says, keep working without expectation of your actions. That will make your life tension-free and happy. I know what to do. Don't teach me my job. In other words, God has not said like this, but this is the meaning that we can draw from this shloka. Okay, to continue further, shloka number 48. Further, Paramatma says, Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyakva dhananjayo siddha siddhyo samo bhutva samatmai yoga uchyate. Samatmai yoga uchyate. This is a golden rule Paramatma has given. Samatmai yoga uchyate. Paramatma says, Yogastha, the person who is equipoised, karmani, duties, sangam is attachment, siddhya, asiddhya, success or failure, sama, equipoise, bhutva, to become, samatvam, equanimity, uchyate is called. So Paramatma says, Dhananjaya, that means the conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, perform actions, that means your kartavya karma, your duties, being steadfast in the path of yoga. Which yoga? Samatha yoga, equanimity. Renouncing the attachment, sangam tyakva. Having become even-minded in success and failure, and that equanimity, that equilibrium of mind is called yoga. Samatma yoga uchyate. So whatever actions we take externally for the material world or internally with our own emotions, our own feelings, if we follow this principle of samatva, equanimity, remain equipoised in all contradicting situations, we are a yogi. People following this principle of samatha are yogis. Sangam tyaktva. Paramatma says sangam tyaktva. You can become indifferent only if you have no attachment for actions, isn't it? You have no attachment for actions, their fruits, the place, the time, the incident, circumstances, bodies, minds. You have no attachment to anything. Because they belong to the matter. Because without being indifferent for actions, this cannot lead you to salvation. If you want to have liberation, salvation, moksha, mukti, then you have to have sangantyatva. You have to give up this sangha, asakti. Siddha siddhyo samo bhutva. A man should be even-minded in favorable and unfavorable situations, in honor and in dishonor, in praise and in criticism. In all situations, he should be siddha siddhyo samo bhutva. Even-minded, equally respecting both. Yogastha kuru karmani. Lord says that the essence of true yoga lies in the even-mindedness, in success as well as in failure. The person who keeps mind even in these situations, he keeps his mind even, is a steadfast yogi. Samatva yoga uchyate. The sameness of mind should remain intact from the beginning of the action till the end. It shouldn't happen that in the beginning, okay, I am samatva, but in the process we lose that samatva bhavana somewhere and start getting side of one or the other. It should not be a temporary phase. It should become a habit of life throughout. Samatva yoga uchyate. The yoga is nothing but equanimity. That is, equanimity is the embodiment of Lord Himself. If we can acquire this attribute, we are going closer and closer to the Lord, because samatha is Lord's attribute. It is a daivi guna. See, when we can expect to go closer to the God, when we try to gain some of His attributes in us. If our gunas are all asuris, and we say, I want God, is it possible? God will say, Arey bhai, try to take some attributes of mine, and then you and me can become friend, no? So this samatha is one attribute. Paramatma is very strongly advocating in Bhagavad-Gītā. Samatma yoga uchyate. In earlier shloka, Krishna had said, Sukha dukkhe samay krutva labha labho jaya jaya. Now he is saying, in addition to that, that you should give up expectation of karma phala and the sense of doership as well. Become nitya sattvastha, samatva, equanimity, and nirdvandva. These are the steps. Nitya sattvastha, samatva, equanimity, and nirdvandva. Sri Krishna is asking us to go beyond nirdvandva. Karma phala and our ego of being doer of the karma is the real dvandva, according to Gita. This is the root cause of all our problems. Karma phala expectation and our ego of doing karma. This is the dvandva. When we say I do the karma, let us come to anatomy of our body. When we say I do the karma, who exactly we mean by I? There are 60,000 miles of veins in our body. There are 30 trillion cells in our body. There are 38 trillions active good bacteria, what we call as jivanus, in our body. They work, that's why our body is enjoying its existence. Then the karma is done exactly by which cell, by which bacteria? Which of these 60,000 miles of vein is doing the karma? Which of these 30 trillion cells are doing the karma? Which of these 38 trillions active good bacteria are doing the karma? Who is doing the karma? When we say I do the karma, who is that I? Who among all these is doing the karma? Karma is done by hands or is done by the mind, by the brain. Who is doing the karma? Or the power that inspires brain to do the karma. Who is doing the karma? That means when we say that I do the karma, the credit automatically goes to all these 30 trillion cells, all these 38 trillion active bacteria, etc., etc. Then the question still remains, who exactly does the karma? Who exactly does the karma? The answer is, there is something other than the body which we consider as I. We consider body as I. But there is something else other than this I, other than this body, that power, that life force, it does the karma. When it is doing the karma, why should we, that means the body, take the credit of doing the karma? So our credit for being doer of the karma is a very foolish notion, no? A small story. There was a very hefty, bulky Marwadi. He was a grocery shop owner, weighing about 120, 125 kgs. Doctors asked him to reduce the weight, otherwise he would face serious health problems. He was advised to take a long walk every day. He used to stay on the 4th floor of an apartment building with no lift. So the poor fellow had to climb down all the 5 staircases every day. Doctors had advised him to take a morning walk, so he would take a walk for 2-3 kilometers, again climb the staircase, take shower, again climb down, go to his shop, again come back in the evening, climb up the staircase. So this was his routine. This was going on. One day, after taking the morning walk for a kilometer or so, this fellow fell down on the road. People were knowing him. The grocery shop owners are known, well known in their area. So people knew him. Oh, he is that fellow. With great difficulty, they put his body in the car and brought it near his apartment building. But how to take it to the 4th floor? Such a huge, bulky body. How to lift it and take it through staircase? Because there was no lift. But some 20-25 people, by changing their hands every couple of steps on that staircase, with great difficulty, they managed to lift his body and bring it to his 4th floor apartment. Half of them, in the process, were half dead. It was such a bulky body. And dead body becomes even more bulky. Those who have lifted dead body, they would know it. Now, so many people were trying and so many people were finding it so difficult to lift that body. 10, 20, 25 people were finding it difficult to lift that body. But the same body was climbing down and up every day, 2, 3, 4 times. The body was still intact. The legs are there, hands are there, head is there, ears are there, nose is there, eyes are there, everything is there. But the body cannot stand up and cannot walk. So we have to accept that the Chaitanya, the life force in the body, was the real power that was making that body daily to come up, go down, come up, go down, the movement of the body. So it simply means that all the karmas done by us are due to the presence of that Chaitanya, that life force in us. Then why we should give all credit to that body? Should we not give all credit to that Chaitanya for all the karmas that are done by the body? And why then we should have the sense of doership? Shri Krishna says, give up this sense of doership. Give up karma phala expectation. Consider success and failure in equanimity and get established in yoga. That is the key of becoming a successful, accomplished yogi. But is it really easy to follow the principles of equanimity in our life? Honestly, quite difficult. Can we expect others as they are, which may be contrary to our expectation? We want everybody to be goody-goody and then we accept him. If he is not goody-goody, then shall we accept him? Difficult. Again, a small story. There were 2 brothers, Sam and John. Sam was in army, in US Army, and John was doing a flourishing business. The soldier brother, that Sam, was involved in the Vietnam War. Many years back, US had fought a war with Vietnam. So he was involved in that Vietnam War. He was finally coming home after having fought that war in Vietnam. He called his dear brother John, saying that, John, I'm Sam, I'm coming home. The John and his wife, they heard his voice on the phone and they were overjoyed. Oh, Sam is coming back. They said, we are eagerly waiting for you, dear. Please come back. We'll all live together happily again. We were really missing you all these years. The soldier brother Sam said, but I have a favor to ask you. I want a favor from you. John and his wife said, what is that you want? He said, I have a friend I would like to bring home with me. Is that okay? Oh, why not? Sure. John and his wife said, yes, you can bring your friend to our house, no problem. We'd love to meet him. And our house is big enough. He can stay with us, no problem. He's your friend, no? He can stay with us, no problem. Then this Sam said, but there is something more which you should know. He was badly injured in the fight in Vietnam. He has lost one arm and one leg. He has nowhere else to go, and I want him to be with us. Now, listening to this, John and his wife, they went in a stunned silence. Couple of minutes, no voice coming from inside. After a while, they responded to this fellow Sam, saying that we are sorry to hear that. Maybe we can help him find somewhere to live. But the Sam said, no, dear brother, I want him to live with us. Then John and his wife said, brother, you don't know what you are asking. Someone with such a handicapped body, would be a terrible burden on us. Our whole family is fit and fine, enjoying the luxuries of life. And if somebody comes with one hand and one leg missing, and we have to take care of him, we have to see him every day, our morning will get spoiled seeing that fellow. We have our own lives to live, and we cannot let something like that to interfere in our day-to-day life. I think you should just come home and forget about this fellow. He will find a way on his own. He will live on his own. Don't worry about him. We love you, but that does not mean we leave a person with no hands and no leg. You are welcome here, but not that person who is having no hand and no leg. Such a handicapped fellow cannot stay. At that point, this soldier fellow, Sam, he hung up the phone. And this John and his wife, they did not hear anything from him for many days. A few days later, however, John received a call from San Francisco police. He was told that his brother, Sam, had died after falling from a building. Police believed that it was a case of suicide. The grief-stricken John and his wife, they're very sad, very sad to know that their brother has died. So they flew to San Francisco and were taken to that city morgue where Sam's body was there. They recognized his body. But to their horror, they also discovered something which they did not know. They found that their dear brother Sam was without one leg and without one arm. Now, why such unfortunate incidents change our attitude towards the victim? Our behavior with them, our relationship with them is based on their appearance. Everyone is a child of God, and God loves all of his children equally. Do we have this equanimity in us till now? See, we find it easy to love those who are good looking or fun to have around, who are good company. But we don't like people who inconvenience us or make us feel uncomfortable. We would rather stay away from such people who are not as healthy, as beautiful, as smart as we are. But if only our eyes could see the souls inside those bodies. And that is what Paramatma says. Look at all in equanimity. To love God is to see part of God in every living being. The God was there in that fellows also. Shri Krishna defines yoga in a single word, samatva. Samatva is yoga. To be equal. Those who are established in yoga are equally loving to the person who supports and likes them, or to the person who insults and dislikes them. Equally concerned about the welfare of all around them, regardless of other people's attitude, their action, their looks, their capabilities, their incapabilities, etc., etc. Gita is a call for enthusiastic, selfless action. Shri Krishna impresses upon us that by practicing meditation daily, by repeating the mantra daily, we too can learn to establish ourselves within him and then throw ourselves in the tireless service for our family, for our society, for our community, for our country, and for the world with this feeling of equanimity. Equanimity, as we discussed, is a divine attribute. It is Paramatma gun. If you want to acquire that, we have to do meditation. No other way. Okay, let us continue with next shloka now. Shloka number 49. Further, Paramatma says, दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म बुद्धियोगाधनञ्जयो बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणः फलहेतवः. Further, Paramatma says, Arjuna, seek refuge in the attitude of detachment and you will amass wealth of spiritual awareness. The man who is motivated only by desires for fruits, that means for doing only sakam karma, for his actions, karma phala, he is a miserable fellow indeed. He is miserable. Miserable, the word used by Paramatma is krupana. Krupana phala hetava. Phala hetava, the person who is keeping his sight only on phala, is a krupana. Miserable is the word used here to describe people who are caught in results only, karma phala. Such people do not have any peace of mind. They are filled with anxiety. Am I going to get what I want? Am I not going to get? Am I going to fail? Am I going to get succeed? Am I going to succeed? They begin to use unscrupulous means once they become afraid of not achieving the results they desire for. Shri Krishna tells us, of course, to Arjuna, that whatever you do, therefore, do not get caught in the result. That is for me to give. Rest assured, you will get what you truly deserve. As long as you have used the right means and strive for a selfless, objective goal of your life, you will get what you deserve. The word here is durena. Durena. Durena is, as light is the opposite or contrary to darkness, similarly, the action performed with equanimity of mind is contrary to the action performed with the selfish motive. They are durena, miles, poles apart. An action performed with equanimity leads to God realization, while the action which is performed, which is result motivated, it leads to cycle of birth and death. So they are durena, no? One is giving you moksha, one is throwing you back in the cycle of birth and death. So these two actions are durena. Buddhav sharanan vichha. Seek refuge in the evenness of mind. Buddhav, this buddhi of samata buddhi, sharanan vichha, take the refuge. Take the refuge of this samata buddhi, Arjuna. Krupana phala hetavaha. It is very lowly to crave for the fruits of the action, for the fruits of the karma. Leave that all to the God only. But the way things or the way we are living today, for a very common grievance is, I did so much for that person, but what did I get in return? Or I will do such and such thing for you, but do remember this and return this favor later. Shri Krishna says, drop this attitude. Drop this attitude forthwith. Once a sage, small story, once a sage saw a scorpion had fallen in a pool of water. The poor creature was in pain and was desperately trying to get out of water, that scorpion. The sage compassionately picked it out and was just about to place on the dry ground when that scorpion stung him. The resultant pain made the sage's hand quiver, and the scorpion dropped back again from his hand into the water. Nevertheless, the sage calmly repeated the process to help the creature, to help that scorpion, lifted it again from water, but the scorpion stung him again. Now this kept on happening quite a few times. He will pick up, he will sting, and then drop again. Meanwhile, a well-wisher was passing from there, who had seen this entire drama. He remarked to that sage, why are you bothering yourself to help this creature when it is repeatedly biting the very hand that is helping him? The sage responded, see, my dear fellow, it is scorpion's nature to sting, and it is sage's nature to be compassionate. If a scorpion cannot forego his nature, can a sage abandon it? He is following his dharma. I shouldn't follow my dharma. This is a perfect example of Nishkam Karma Yoga. And moreover, he is not reminding God to make a note of his good deed that I am helping this. Now contrast this with our day-to-day behavior. We will call upon the witness of God for every small good act that we do. God, we are looking, no, I am helping this fellow here. When a disciple asks the Guru, Master, I have heard all your words of wisdom. Now tell me, when will I get liberated? Suppose a Shishya asks his Guru, after entering his ashrama for many years, he asked this Guru, when will I get salvation, liberation? The Guru, he replied, saying that never. You'll never get salvation, liberation. Why? Because if you don't get the conviction of being liberated, despite listening to the supreme knowledge, when will you get liberated then? 6 months from now? 1 year from now? This happens in the flash of a moment, liberation, moksha. Here you listen to the words, and the words will enter your mind and your intellect. In that very instant, you will realize that you were always liberated. You were always bondage free. You were always under some imaginary bondage. It was not a real bondage at all. You were always liberated. You realize instantaneously that I am eternal. I am infinite. See, what an irony that until this moment, I had been accepting the limitations of mind as my limitations. Now I know I have no limitations. I was fearful, anxious, miserable. What a relief that I have finally awakened from the dream of the inherent suffering of this phenomenal world. That I am eternal, I am infinite, I am God. Gita is to be studied with this conviction. Every word of Lord is to be deeply absorbed in the mind and intellect. A deep contemplation has to be practiced, and soon we will all realize the same, that we already have liberated, and our fears and bondages were useless, temporary, and not worth getting entangled into. So Bhagavad Gita, when we see Paramatma's message, we don't have to read it only as a message. We have to see how it affects our life. And that truth, ultimate truth, which Krishna has spoken in Gita, we have to see that that truth prevails in our life as well. When Krishna says we are already liberated, we must believe Krishna's words and say that yes, we are already liberated. Provided our mindset becomes the same, what Krishna is expecting in Gita. Okay, next sloka 50. Further. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrute tasmadyoga yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushalam. Wonderful. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Paramatma says, endowed with equanimity, that's samatha, one frees the self in this life from the pap and punya, both virtue and vice, both, provided he is endowed with equanimity. Therefore, devote yourself to this yoga of equanimity. Skill in action, karmasu kaushalam, lies in the practice of samatha yoga in your action. What does it all mean? Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukruta dushkrute. A person endowed with the equanimity becomes free from virtue and vice alike. Like the omnipresent God. Because Paramatma takes all actions in the Srishti, in the cosmos. Does the Paramatma get bondaged? No. Because every action of Paramatma is samatva. So if we copy that attribute in us and perform all our actions with samatha, equanimity, whether it results in papa or punya is of no consequence. Because we have done it with equanimity of mind, as Paramatma is doing his karma with equanimity, we also do the same. All karma that we do with the equanimity of mind, then neither the virtues nor the vices will affect us. So, Ubhe Sukruta Dushkrute. Ubhe means both. Sukruta is Punya, Dushkrut is Pap. So, we can clear both with the same stroke, equanimity. Finish. See, in the state of equanimity, a man while living in the world detaches himself from the world and remains untouched by the virtues and vice, Pap and Punya. As the lotus leaf is untouched by water, similarly this way also, who is following this principle of equanimity, is untouched by any of the karmas that he does. Whether it results in Pap or Punya, he is not affected. The man identifies himself with the body, and that is why the virtues and vice accrue. If he does not identify himself with the body, he will remain untouched by the sins and the virtues. Tasmat dego yujjaso. Therefore, establish yourself in the yoga of equanimity. That is, remain established continuously in equanimity. You cannot attain that equanimity so long as you have attachment and aversions. So first discard this attachment and aversion and then get established in equanimity. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. This is interesting. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. The skill in karma or action lies in the practice of this samatha yoga, principle of equanimity. Yoga karmasu kaushalam may have two meanings. People may draw two meanings out of this. First meaning is karmasu kaushalam yoga. That means skill in action is yoga. Sanskrit is a funny language. You can draw the meaning that you want. Skill in action is yoga. This is one meaning people can draw. Second meaning is karmasu yoga kaushalam. In action, yoga is the skill. In the first meaning, action was the skill. In second, yoga is the skill. If we interpret in the first way, that skill in action is yoga, then a thief who steals very cleverly and never gets caught will be entitled to be called as yogi, because he is very skillful in his karma, in his action. He performed his action very skillfully. This can be said about any person, be he a murderer or a cheat or a fraud, so long as he does his act skillfully without getting caught. Will he be a yogi then? So this interpretation is not proper. Moreover, we are talking of actions which are sattvic, which are not forbidden action. These are prescribed actions. This means that yoga karmas kaushala means yoga, equanimity in performance of karma is the skill. That is the right meaning. We are all entangled in karma chakra, isn't it? Every karma that we do puts a bondage on us. So we are all entangled in this karma chakra. Now, how to come out of this karma chakra? Sri Krishna is showing that path to us here. He is asking, do you want to keep rotating in this chakra? Lives after lives? Keep facing sukha dukkha? Or do you want to get rid of this chakra? I have kept a way for you. That path is samatha, samatva yoga, yoga of equanimity. You see, as the wheel of that bullock cart, you see the wheel of bullock cart, it keeps rotating in the moving cart. When the cart is moving, the wheel keeps rotating, isn't it? And the spokes of that wheel also keep rotating along with the wheel. That means the spokes are a part of wheel. They will have to keep rotating with the wheel. Wheel is rotating, so they will have to compulsorily rotate with the wheel because they are a part of that wheel. No one can stop the action of that moving cart. Then what is the way out if you want to get rid of this rotation? Suppose we are that spoke and want to get rid of that rotation action. For that, the axle around which the wheel and spoke keep rotating, you will have to take that role of that axle. Axle never rotates. Axle never rotates. Wheels are mounted on the sides of axle. Axle never rotates. It is steady, stationary. So you will have to change the role from spoke to axle, then only you will stop rotation. That skill is yoga of equanimity. If we continue in the role of spoke, then rotating is inevitable. If you don't want to rotate, change your role from a sakam karmi to a nishkam karmi. Take the role of that axle so that your rotation will stop forever. Okay, next shloka, shlok 51. Paramatma says, Karmajam buddhiyukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vidirmukta padam gacchantya namayam. Sri Krishna says, as wise men endowed with equanimity. See how equanimity has been emphasized again and again in Gita. As wise men endowed with the equanimity, renounce the fruits of actions, they are freed from the shackles of birth and attain blissful supreme state. Karmajam buddhyukta hi phalam tyaktva manishina janma bandha vidirmukta padam gacchantya namayam. Karmajam buddhyukta hi phalam tyaktva manishina. An action even without the desire for its fruit will bring about the fruit. Is it that you desire for fruit, that's why you get fruit? If you don't desire, you will not get the fruit. Nothing like that. A farmer sows seed without the selfish motive, will you not get the corn or whatever he is sowing in this farm? You will definitely get. Similarly, if a person works in a detached spirit, you will get the fruit. Therefore, renunciation of fruit means renunciation of manifest and renunciation of latent desire for the fruit. Fruit invariably will be there, invariably. But desire and attachment for the fruit is to be given up. That is the message Paramatma gives. Janma bandha vidirmukta. Those following the path of equanimity of mind are freed from the wheel of birth and death. Janma bandha vidirmukta. As in the state of equanimity, they do not in the least possess evils such as attachments and aversions. So there is a question of janma bandha. Because these are the root causes of rebirth, no? Bandha. So there janma bandha vidirmukta. Then padam gacchantya namayam. Amaya is ailment. Amaya. Amaya means rogue, disease. It's a blemish. A thing which is free from all sort of blemishes is called anamaya, spotless. Wise people endowed with equanimity attain this anamaya, spotless, eternal state. This shlok proves that karma yoga, that means the discipline of action, karma yoga, is an independent means for salvation, liberation. Whatever is attained by jnana yoga, same can be attained by karma yoga. This shloka is a proof of that. By karma yoga, the renunciation of world and attainment of God both are achieved. According to Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Gita is nothing but a text of karma yoga. Different people perceive it differently. Lokmanya Tilak perceived it as a karma yoga. Gita is karma yoga. The Ramanuja, it was a text of bhakti yoga. For Adi Shankaracharya, he said it is a text of Vedanta. So Gita is such. So it is the intricate web spun by Lord Krishna that Gita is endearing to all the people. Whether you follow the principle of duality or non-duality, whatever, it doesn't matter. And Sri Krishna says to Arjuna that you can get instantaneous liberation provided you attain an equanimous intellect while performing your karma. For only the one whose intellect is equipoised has the capability of the knowledge that this real nature is, in reality, he is always free. People who have no knowledge, they will never realize that they are already bondage free. They are never in bondage. On the contrary, the one whose intellect is agitated by the waves of desires will not be able to digest and absorb this great knowledge of Sankhya Yoga, what we are learning in this Adhyaya. That we are already free. These bondages are imaginary, self-created. There are many wonderful stories. If the time permits, we will discuss those. So what we see today is that, in contrast to this knowledge, what we have learned now, what we see today is that when faced with difficulties, we remember God. We need to remember him Nitya, always. संत कबीर used to say, दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे ना कोई. जो सुख में सुमिरन करे, तो दुख काहे को है. But people don't remember this. When they are in sukh, they don't do sumiran. They don't remember God. See, the principle of Karma Yoga is that one should be able to relinquish, give up expectations of karmapala, sense of doership, vasana, that means the lust, and the ahankar, the ego. You attain skill in performing karma if you follow all these four things. We all visit a sari shop, for example, for buying saris. For some female member of our family, invariably the husband goes with the wife. The male servant in that sari shop, he has a typical style of convincing his customers. He will say, the saris in my shop are guaranteed. His eye is very active all the time. You observe his language. I have the greatest of lots. I have the greatest of varieties. My price is the lowest in the market. I, my, mine. All this invariably happens in his language. He will drape himself in different saris to show to the customer as to how it will look on the body. A very tough job indeed. The poor fellows do that job. In fact, he does not own anything in that shop. Does he own anything? He is a servant there, no? He does not own anything, but his language is, मेरे दुकान में सब है. My shop. He is only a link between the customer and the shop owner. But even then, his every sentence is full of me, mine, I, all that. If one day the shop owner removes him from his job, he realizes that there was nothing of his in this shop. When he realizes that whatever he has been calling I, mine, nothing was his, that is Jnana. That is Jnana. We also, in our day-to-day life, keep using this language of I, my, mine, because of me, all that. But when the time comes to get checked out from this world, like that servant got checked out from his shop, we also get checked out from this world someday, no? We realize on that day that there was nothing my and mine in this world. But probably it is too late by then. See, the beauty of Karma Yoga is that every reverse will send you deeper in your resources. What does it mean? Every karma that you do, if it gives you unfavorable result, for example, you go deeper in your consciousness. You go deeper in your resources. What are the resources? Meditation, reading of Geeta, reading of Vishnu Sahasranam. These are all the resources at your disposal. So, so-called unfavorable result will make you look deeper into yourself. This is one of the marvelous changes which helps in the deepening of your spiritual awareness. You start looking at it with that awareness in spirituality. When an obstacle is coming, you say, come on, let it be a big reverse, let it be a big unfavorable thing, because it will drive me deeper in my spiritual consciousness. You lose your fear of defeat. Learn to use defeat and disappointments to deepen your resources. That means going deeper in meditation, doing deeper, more contemplation, doing deeper self-study, introspection. These are the tools at your disposal. So Lord Krishna says, don't be afraid. If out of my love for you, because I want you to get evolved spiritually, so out of my love for you, I will send you a few defeats in your life. On the surface level, when everything is goody-goody, when everything is good, you have hardly any weapons. But when I send you the defeats, after defeats in your life, then you will be able to draw upon your deeper awareness, where my resources will be open for you. Study of Gita is Krishna's resource. We got this resource from Krishna. And we will study Gita in more depth when we get such reverses in our life. Isn't it? See, Kunti was an ardent devotee of Krishna. She used to pray to Krishna, Kunti, that Krishna, please keep showering sorrows on me. Because when I am in sorrow, I remember you more and more. So I go deeper and deeper in my spiritual awareness when I am in sorrow. Only an equanimous intellect will give you the peace. Nothing else can, as explained by God in this shloka as well as in the next shloka as well. So equanimity is emphasized again and again. Okay, let us continue with shloka number 52 now. Further, yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatidarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shradasya cha. Paramatma says, when your mind has overcome the confusion of duality, good, bad, favorable, unfavorable, all the duality, you will attain the state of holy indifference to the things which you will hear and all those which you have heard. What does it mean? See, being allured, absorbed in the material world is like getting into a swamp, daldal, in the marshy land. When we keep thinking only about the material desires, we are putting our mind in that mud, marshy land, in daldal, in swamp. Whenever your intellect gets thus enchanted, giving rise to attachments, know that it is entrapped in the swamp, in the daldal. How will you then follow any path? When your mind is in that swamp, how will you follow any path? Your mind should be free, na? Clean, pure, then only you can follow any path. Be it Nishkam Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, or for that matter, any yoga. When your mind is in swamp, in that marshy land, in daldal, how can you follow any path? So the first task is to get your mind out of that swamp, out of that daldal, where it is stuck, make it radiant, pure and serene. And this is possible in the presence of Vairagya, dispassion. So Sri Krishna says, listen to what I am saying. For only by listening, the fire of dispassion will blaze in your heart and raise all your attachments. And eradication of all attachments will purify your intellect. Is our mind and intellect clear when we look at the world? Or we mix our likes and dislikes when we look at the world? Do we look at the world in equanimity? Do we look at the world with clarity in our intellect? See, what kind of people do you see around you? Long time ago, a saint lived in a village on the banks of Ganga. One morning, he was taking bath in the Ganga with his disciples, with his shishas. Just then, a passerby came to the banks and asked Gurudev, how are the people of this village? Actually, I want to move somewhere else from my present place of residence. So, can I shift here? The saint said, will you please tell me what kind of people live in the village where you live now? You are asking this question, what kind of people live here? I am asking a counter question. What kind of people live in the village where you live now? That fellow replied, don't ask Gurudev. All kinds of wicked, evil and bad people live in my village. Hearing this, the saint said, in this village also, you will find exactly the same people. Even here, there are hypocrites, wicked and evil people. The passerby, he said, thank you, and he went away. After some time, another passerby crossed from there, and he also asked the same question. I want to live in the new place. Can you tell me what kind of people are living in this village? So Gurudev asked him the same question. What type of people are there where you live present? The saint asked him this question. That fellow replied saying that, well, there are people who are very civilized, wise and good people. The Gurudev replied, you will find exactly the same people here also. Civilized, settled and very good at heart. Saint finished by saying this and went for his daily work. His disciples were watching all this. As soon as the man left, they asked Gurudev, why did you speak so differently about the people of the same place? To one person, we said they are wicked, evil. To another person, we said they are very civilized, wise, very good people. The saint said, with seriousness in his voice, my dear fellows, usually we do not see the world around us as it is. Rather, we see it as we ourselves are within. There are all kinds of people everywhere. It depends on us what kind of people we want to see. Often we look at the others with the same perspective as we ourselves are. For the first passerby, all the villagers were hypocrites, wicked and evil, because his own tendencies were like that. Whereas for other passerby, everyone to be civilized, settled and good at heart, because he himself is civilized, calm, wise and had good thoughts. The saint said with a little more seriousness, always remember one thing. We see the things around us just as we are. As our vision, so is the world. Okay, after listening to this message, let us go further. Last look of today, look 53. Kriti vipratipanna te yada sthasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhis tada yogam avapsasi. Paramatma says, after your intellect, which is confused by hearing conflicting doctrines, advices, instructions, injunctions, has become stable and firm on God, you will then attain the self-realization or union with the God. But first thing is, your intellect, your confusion has to be removed first. But it is confused. How it is confused, we will see that. The Lord says to Arjuna that your mind is currently confused. Arjuna was confused, no? What is dharma and what is adharma? So his mind is confused by all the do's and don'ts given in the scriptures in the Vedas. Once the intellect is out of this mud swamp of moha, illusion, then only you will attain the vairagya about all that you have heard and all that you will hear in future. When your intellect, confused with different doctrines, will get established in samadhi, then only it will attain samatha yoga, yoga of equanimity. See, the scriptures give you so many different rules on social conduct. One such rule is that children should obey the commands of their parents. Full stop. Okay, very good to hear that. Thus, many parents, they exploit this rule of Vedas or scriptures and they quote this to their children, this spiritual doctrine, making them conform to their wishes. मैं ऐसा बोल रहा हूँ ना, I am your father, so you should do this because Vedas have said like this. Pandit also, while conducting the marriage ceremonies, they quote and brainwash that they are now bound to each other for not one but for 7 lifetimes. They tell this to the prospective husband and wife. So many rituals and rites are pumped into our mind, citing Vedas, scriptures at the source. So in other words, Lord is saying that not everything mentioned in Veda has to be taken literally, regardless of being set in stone. Don't think that it is a patthar ki lakir hai. Every word of Veda is not a patthar ki lakir. For example, if listening to everything your parents say that it was a rigid percept, then Shukadeva, the son of Maharshi Vedavyas, would have never left his father's place, his father's house. And he went to the forest. Maharshi Vedavyas, he told him, he quoted Vedas to Shukadeva and he said that, Shukadeva, scriptures don't advocate son leaving his father. But Shukadeva, he was son of Maharshi Vedavyas after all, he replied, Father? Whose father? Whose father? I am an independent being. I needed a body to perform my spiritual practices, and seeing an opportune time, I acquired the body, taking birth through your wife's womb. My God. Shukadeva arguing like this with Maharshi Vedavyas. Now what will you say? See, how many couples are aware of who will be born to them? A sinner will be born, a womanizer will be born, or a yogi will be born. Who? They don't have any clue. It is a sheer accidental that they end up conceiving. Their entire life is in fact a series of accidents only. Nothing is in our hand, no? So it is accident. And then they insist that their children get married and end up going through the same accident-prone life which they themselves did. It is like a blind leading another blind. We have not understood what is life, and we are trying to teach our blind children how to live the life. You get so brainwashed by all the scriptures that you get filled with guilt and attachment. So a bride gets indoctrinated into believing that her husband's home is her final destination. तुम्हारी शादी कर दी है, now your husband places your place. No matter what happens to you, she should not return to her parents' home under any circumstances. डोली में जाओ और अर्थी में वापिस आओ. This is the rule they used to say, isn't it? Not otherwise. The only way she can leave her husband home is in her coffin. Does it sound logical? Even if it is said in scriptures, does it sound logical? When the husband is a maniac, a very violent person, and is making his wife's life a big hell, this mention in scripture should still be followed. While the groom, on the other hand, he is given a grave sermon on how difficult it is to bear the responsibility of married family life. अब सब जवाबदारी तुम्हारी है. He should take care of earning for the family, leaving all the domestic chores to his wife. Now, all these are doctrines possible in today's world when the boy and girls both are working and they earn almost equally well. The boy has to participate and help his wife in cleaning the utensils also. And most of the IT guys, they experience this. Cooking may be done by the wife, but in the night, the dishwasher will be set by the husband, invariably. So, scores of such doctrines instill guilt and attachment in your mind. Whatever I am doing, is it right? Scriptures say contrary to this. Now, this is one example I give you, but there are several such things related to the spiritual life which are not practical to be followed in today's world. So, it is no wonder then that your intellect, which is stuck in all sorts of attachment, always lies in the conflict. Ye karu ki wo karu. And agitation. Your mind will become still and tranquil only when it gets firmly established in the divine consciousness. Only then will your intellect be equipoised and be ready to perform the Nishkam Karma. Sri Krishna says, a confusion-free mind is a prerequisite for being able to do any Nishkam Karma. So remove all confusions from your mind, whether they are coming from scriptures or they are coming from some hearsay. Be firm on the objective of your life and work with unconfused mind. I think we'll stop here. Now the forum is open for all of you. Raise your questions. Thank you so much for your patience. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya. It was such an enlightening session. Easy to understand, easy going. So now if anyone has any questions, please do raise your hand. We will unmute you. Jai Shri Krishna, Bhaiya.
If people are tired of listening to me today, they can raise their questions in the next session also. No problem.
Yes, Neetu ji.
Yeah, Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya, Jai Shri Krishna
Yes,
Didi. Bhaiya, I have one question, just a grammar question I missed last night because the time was different. So I'm asking something different. I don't know if you can answer it. Definitely you can, but I'm just asking. So Vivechan was very good. I loved it. But, I just want to take little time for the grammar. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have one question. Like, I understand little bit, but whole thing I'm not understand. In a Rushi case, in a Ru, that Ru and then one in a Rasu are Reera Chapalam. What's the exactly different? What is the difference in that?
That ru is you have to touch the tongue to the top of your jaw. When you say Rushikesh ka ru, when you're reading simple ru, then it is only ru. But when you say Rushikesh, that ru is a something which you have to touch the tongue to the top of your jaw. Talavya. So that is the difference only. But my suggestion to you will be instead of going so much details of into grammar, better go into the spirit of the word. See, it becomes very complicated if you start going deeply into the grammar of Sanskrit, because Sanskrit is a very, very rich language. Our focus will be unnecessarily get shifted from learning of Gita, learning from the message of Krishna, to learning of grammar or learning of Sanskrit. That is not the objective of our life. People spend their whole life in learning Sanskrit, but even then they cannot reply to many questions, because that is a complicated. That is the language.
That's true, Bhaiya. Suppose I'm a CT and somebody asks questions, they ask, so I should know what is the difference. Because I missed it, but now I'm reading little bit in detail. So it clicked in my mind that why I didn't ask. And last night I missed it because my time and the India time is little different.
Okay.
So
See,
I thought it's good things,
Rushi ka ru jo hota hai na, Rushi ka ru, that time that ru is, you have to touch your tongue to the top of jaw. When you say plain ru, then it is plain ru.
Okay. In a rus, if you see there is a barn kind of, there is an arrow in her. So that arrow is like a barn, in Hindi. What is that? Like, what is that? It is rus hai, or it is it is Benjan. What is that?
Which barn, which
In the rus and Reera Chapalam is the same sign and same as a rus.
Reera Chapalam.
Right.
Reera Chapalam is dirgha. Reera Chapalam is dirgha. That re is dirgha. See, it depends on when you take any particular word, the word that is hidden in the bottom of that word is complete. And then suppose you say re. Okay, it's a Reera Chapalam. Then if you say re, then what you say is that her, which comes first, is half. And that and then what it comes is re, that ra is complete. And when it is dirgha, you have to say Reera Chapalam. Reera Chapalam.
Okay. So here is means dirg, like long, and then Rushikesh means short. That's the difference.
Ru is, as I said, ru and ru. Ru and ru. So these pronunciations are different. Pronunciations are different. When you say Rushikesh, ru, that ru, and then we say Rudra, that Rudra ru is different than Rishikesh ru. Rishikesh and Rudra.
Okay.
So it's a matter of pronunciation.
Okay. Okay, Bhaiya. Thank you. Thank you, Jai Shri Krishna.
Yes, Sri Ramji.
Jai Shri Krishna, sir.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Really, we are very happy that all the speeches which you are giving every Sunday, really we are getting so much of clarifications in our doubts through our life, sir. And here just a small doubt I'm having. Why this chapter Sankhya Yoga is named like this? Sankhya Yoga, why it is named like this, sir? Can I have that importance of the Sankhya Yoga?
Yeah, the literal meaning of Sankhya in Sanskrit is intellect filled with jnana, intellect filled with buddhi, with wisdom. So that is the meaning of Sankhya. Now, intellect can be filled with jnana or good jnana, that means Atma jnana, or intellect may be filled with some bad jnana also. Now, we are discussing the intellect which is filled with Atma jnana. That's why the first few shlokas of this adhyaya, Naine Chindanti Shastrani, Naina Nanti Pavaka, Chainan Kledeyanti, and all that, they were telling us about the Atma. So this Sankhya Yogi, his objective of life is to focus on Atma and how to unite this Atma with Paramatma.
Okay. But usually, to see that Sankhya Yogi means immediately in our mind will getting that numbers. Why that Sankhya is coming in this chapter?
Sankhya, it also has some meaning of Sankhya, but that is not so relevant in Sankhya Yoga as such.
Achha. Atma with Yoga. Yeah.
Study of Atma and uniting Atma with Paramatma.
Thank you, sir. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri.
Bhaiya, I think you have explained the chapter so well that no one has any doubts today.
Very good.
So we can go ahead, Bhaiya.
Yeah, we can close the
Get
session.
answer
Thank
the
you so much
questions.
again.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya, for taking out so much time from your busy schedule, explaining everything so easily. And I would also like to thank our technical team who's working behind the scenes, although we can't see them. But without them, our session would not have been possible. May Sanatan Dharm thrive as always and Krishna Kripa keep flowing over us. Now to offer all our learnings to Shri Bhagwan today, Lakshmi Kotrike ji will recite the prayer. Didi is from Dhone, an ex-MBA lecturer who presently gives seva as a co-trainer, group coordinator and tech in Gita Pariwar. Jai Shri Krishna, Didi. So nice to have you here today.
Jai Shri Krishna. Really thank you for giving me this prasad. Yogesham Satchidananda Vasudeva Vrajapriyam Dharma Samstapakam Veeram Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.
Thank you so much, Didi, for that prarthana. And I would also like to thank all our sadhaks who joined us today for this satra. Thank you so much, Bhaiya, for taking out time. We shall now wind up with recitation of Hanuman Chalisa.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायकु फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसतिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहीसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
Thank you so much, everyone. Jai Shri Krishna to all.